Hi everybody and welcome back to the KK Zone. As always, I am Kara Kaufman, your host on this Yankees roller coaster ride we're all taking together this season, and I'm coming at you on Friday afternoon. It has been a week since my last video and I am very sorry. It has been a busy week. Specifically, my dear friends Lizzie and John got married last weekend. Congratulations, you two. And I was spent the last weekend blissfully at their wedding, and then the rest of this week blissfully catching up on all my stuff I'd missed that weekend that I had to get done. Long story short, it's been a moment, we missed some stuff, and now is our moment to catch up. So because I was at that wedding this weekend, I didn't fully watch all of the Red Sox series. However, I was actually at the first game, which was awesome, and I watched most of the last one on Sunday Night Baseball, everyone's favorite booth to listen to. Ooh. Anyway, I think rather than go into each game in detail, at this point it's a week behind us and we're trying to put it as far in the rear view as possible. So let's just do a full series recap in 3 minutes. I'll see what stood out to me. This is pretty off the cuff, so we'll see what actually stood out in my mind. Let's try. Ready, set, go. Well, first of all, the Yankees got swept by the Red Sox. That sucks, especially because they just managed to split that 4-game set with Tampa. Boston, the team right behind Tampa and directly ahead of the Yankees, couldn't win a single game at Yankee Stadium. Everyone kept reminding us how infrequent that was, and it has not happened in many a moon. That's unfortunate, it was rough, and especially bad because really most of those games the Yankees had a chance to win. So I was at that first game, old friend Nathan Eovaldi on the mound, and he actually looked quite good. The Yankees had moments they could have done something and didn't quite pan out. And Michael King, of whom I am a fan, had a bad first inning. He hung one to Rafael Devers in the first inning with 2 men on that flew. I was sitting in the right field third deck, and that one was gone off the bat. We knew it would come right towards us, and we could tell immediately. A bomb. He actually was pretty good after that, including, highlight of that game, Michael King threw an immaculate inning. That's right, 9 pitches, 9 strikes, 3 strikeouts, boom! We lost the game, but we won because that is a really rare occurrence. Even rarer than a no-hitter by a lot. Rarer than a perfect game, I believe. Immaculate innings almost never happen, and I saw one live. So I'm calling that the win for the day. The Yankees, they did not win. They lost that one. The offense looked pretty weak. They came close to having a couple of opportunities, but it didn't happen in the end. As I was sitting there watching that game from the stands, once they got down 3-0 in the first, it was pretty much over, alas. I watched none of the second game, but effectively, nothing went well. Let's talk about that Sunday night baseball game. This one was on the Yankees, should have, could have, almost did, but didn't win. Herman looked alright. He was pretty good for his portion of that start. All the craziness that got us to being tied in the bottom of the 9th inning, waiting for the Yankees to walk it off, and listen. You can't blame an umpire for a loss. That is not a thing that you can do. Your team shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. I know this argument. However, hear me out. Rougned Odor, not who you want to play it really, with the bases loaded, tied game in the bottom of the 9th inning, gets called out on strike 3 that is conservatively that far outside the strike zone. It was a strike that was never a strike. Matt Barnes, the Boston's very effective this season closer, had really been struggling in that inning, and that was not a strike. So the umpire, did not, was not the outcome, but definitely affected the outcome by taking the bat out of Rugi's hands right there. It was unfortunate, and it was really It was really not a great way to end the game. Ultimately, the Yankees still could have won in extras, but instead they did not, and the Red Sox went on to sweep them. This was a distressing series, largely because the same problems repeated again. There was lack of timely hitting. There were too many double plays. The pitching was mostly pretty good, but let us down in some big moments, which, to be fair, the pitching doesn't happen all the time, but it happened this series. And the Yankees, when they really needed a run, just could not get one. Overall, rather demoralizing. On to the next. Yeah, my takeaway from that series was, boy, the bats seemed to wake up in a big way. The pitching, like I said, not disastrous, though definitely has seen better days, but ultimately, they kept showing this stat over and over again, too, which is the Yankees are not winning high-scoring games. If they allow 5 runs to their opponent, they have not won once, that's not the way the season's going to go if you're going to make it to the playoffs. You're going to have to eventually outslug people occasionally. Not every night, but sometimes. And currently they're doing that 0% of the time, which is not good. So we're looking for the bats to wake up. That was Boston. I'm going to put that right in the rear view, move on. We play them, 16 more times? So definitely there's time to right the ship there. Every time I get too down the dumps about how far behind we are in the standings, I believe at this moment it is 6 games back. there are still 99 games left to play. So, nothing is over, and what we do need to see, though, is some signs of life. And we saw none in the Red Sox series, which is why it was demoralizing. However, following the Red Sox series and a sad day off reflecting on how we couldn't win a single game, it was time to go to Minnesota and play the Twins. Now, if you watched my video chatting with the lovely Pip about the Minnesota Twins, you know the Yankees and Twins have quite a long history, and it is rather lopsided. Yankees have generally owned the Twins. Whether the team has been good, bad, or indifferent, the Yankees have beaten them a lot. So, would this 3-game set in Minnesota be the tonic the Yankees need to turn their season around? Time to find out. Same deal, I'm going to try and recap this in 3 minutes and see what stood out to me. Ready, set, go. Okay, yeah, this was much more like it. The Yankees won 2 out of 3 against the Twins. Should they have won all 3? They should have. Let's start with the bad news first. The Yankees in the last game of this set on Thursday evening had a bit of a rough one. They actually got to a pretty big lead. The Twins, though, hung around, were almost in it. But the Yankees got to the 9th inning with a 2-run lead, and Aroldis Chapman has been lights out. And last night, you know, if you're going to blow a save, you may as well blow supernova style. And this was that. Aroldis Chapman came in. He faced 4 batters and got 0 outs, which tells you how that went. And the batters went like this. Hard hit single, long home run from Josh Donaldson, hard hit single, long home run from Nelson Cruz. So, to recap, a 2-run homer to tie the game, and then 2-run homer to win the game, and nary a single out recorded. Terrible. And he only threw 9 pitches. Honestly, at that point, I'm not even that upset about it, because the Yankees did everything they had to do in that game to get to the point where they could have won it. They put their closer in a save situation who has not blown a save all year, and he blew one. It happens. He did it spectacularly. Chapman does not do things halfway, so he blew this one all the way. It was ugly. But he only threw 9 pitches, so he's available tomorrow against the Phillies. Anyway, the rest of the series, though, I gotta say, this was the one where you're like, oh, look, the Yankees, they do have a good lineup. And that was really refreshing to see. I am very sorry, Twins fans. It kind of feels like they are cursed. Maybe they broke it with this last breakout against Chapman. Who knows? But all the preceding games, Giancarlo Stanton had a monster game in the opening game of the series, including 3 hits, which involved 2 laser home runs. So he appears to have finally found his swing at the plate after missing that time. He had another homer in last night's game. He just generally is slapping the ball now. And a couple times he slapped right at somebody. But anyway, Slugger Stanton seems to have returned. This is a great development. Gleyber Torres had 3 hits last night. You'd love to see that. Everyone's getting on the action. And I just want to shout out real quick. Last night, Gary Sanchez on the bases. We've been talking a lot about how many outs the Yankees have made in the bases, and they definitely made one last night too. But that's not what I want to talk about. Gary Sanchez is first and second. Gary's on second. And there's a ball hit to Josh Donaldson at third. Gary Sanchez obviously has to run. It's a force play. There's no choice there. But what he does is he freezes halfway. So Josh Donaldson, for no reason at all, somehow went for Gary to get the out, and Gary runs out the base path and is called out. But in the meantime, everyone else is safe. Taylor made double play, broken up by some brilliant base running from Gary Sanchez. Keep that one in the vault, because we need it. But in other news, Garrett Cole looked really, really good in the middle game of the series. He allowed 2 solo homers, which is the thing he's going to do. But other than that, he locked him down. 9 strikeouts, no walks. Looked like Garrett Cole. And on balance, to this series, I say, thumbs up. So that was all my scattered thoughts on those 2 series. As many bad feelings as I felt after the Red Sox series ended, the Twins series made me feel a lot better. Because, yeah, they probably should have swept and won all 3 games. However, in those games, for the first time all year, we saw a really good offense go to work. That hasn't happened consistently. We've seen it occasionally in glances, but 3 straight games, they hit well. So that was really, really, really refreshing to see. I also want to give a shout out to Miguel Andujar, who is on a crazy hot streak. He is tearing the cover off the ball, including he's hit 5 home runs in the past 9 games, which is that'll play, kiddo. And in left field, he looks a little awkward, but he also makes some really good plays. He made 2 last night. He also had 2 balls land that maybe either could have been caught or just could have been played more elegantly on the hop. But he made 1 diving catch that I was positive was going to be a hit. That was nice. And whenever we think about his ability to catch the ball in the outfield, his arm is really good. He actually threw out a runner trying to turn a single into a double, and it was a fantastic throw. So, Andujar is hitting like mad, and as long as he can play a passable left field, which currently he is, and it seems like he's improving, keeper. So we're loving the resurgence of Miggy Missiles, Miggy Two Bags, whatever you want to call him. Andujar is back, and it is great to see. That's a real good positive this weekend as well. Now, I have to address the major prevailing theme in baseball right now, which is cracking down on the sticky grip enhancing substances used by pitchers. I mean, this is a whole debacle. I shan't get into the whole thing. You can read up on it. There are some fantastic articles on it in The Athletic and many other places. Effectively, after, for many, many, many years, nay, the entire history of the game of baseball, ignoring the fact that pitchers are using grippy things to enhance their ability to grab that slick baseball, now, because pitchers have pitchers have gradually developed into a level of dominance that has made offense really struggle and, according to many, made the game less fun to watch. Sure, this is all fair. And instead of just using the old pine tar or, the old spitball or using that scrapey thing to scrape the ball up, anyway, instead of all that, they've developed more high-tech substances that, combined with technology that now tells you exactly what you can do with your pitch to make it more effective, has made pitchers into basically monsters, and hitters are just at a loss. So, finally, in an effort to combat this, MLB has announced they're going to crack down on the use of sticky stuff. Unfortunately, 90+% of pitchers use something, so how to do that? It's going to be a hot mess. But because it's all in the news, and because Gerrit Cole, for all of his amazing, incredible attributes, sometimes does dumb things, he is at the center of this debate. A, because he was not pitching great in Pittsburgh, went to Houston, suddenly became a lot better. A lot of factors there. Coaching, definitely. Change in his pitch repertoire to make his stuff play off each other more effectively, definitely that. Possibly also something to help him spin the ball better, possibly. In any case, before this series began, Josh Donaldson of the Twins made a comment, perhaps ill-conceived comment, about Gerrit Cole, basically calling out Gerrit Cole specifically and saying he thinks it's wrong that pitchers are getting an advantage, guys like Gerrit Cole. The reason was, after MLB announced that umpires would be authorized to just randomly inspect pitchers as they're walking off the mound, a couple of big-name guys, Trevor Bauer, notoriously said he would use sticky stuff to increase his spin rate to prove everyone else was doing it too. Gerrit Cole, who's been accused of exactly that, their spin rates dropped a bit in their last start. Spin rate, very complicated, won't get into it, but effectively, having a better grip will definitely help you be able to spin the ball more, so people are looking at that as an indicator that pitchers might be using something untoward. So, ultimately, after all that, Donaldson called out Cole specifically. Cole did not respond to that, did strike out Donaldson twice and then induce a grounder for the third out. So 0-3 Donaldson, 0-3 against Cole there. And Cole's spin rate was back to where it normally is that start too, which people were speculating maybe the spin rate was down last start because he'd stopped using the stuff, knowing he might get checked. If so, either he started using it again, or it was just, as he said after that previous start, a mechanical crinkle that he has now ironed out. Unclear. In any case, amusingly, Gerrit Cole, probably mad to be scapegoated about a thing that literally everybody is doing. Now, not saying that everyone should be doing it, but it's been the way for many, many years. Anyway, he was probably pissed off to be called out like that, and his average fastball velocity was the highest of his career. So, don't get mad, get even. Or get mad and get even by just demolishing all comers. Hey, if Cole wants to pitch mad and it works, I am here for it. He looked sharp. It was great. Anyway, Josh Donaldson also hilariously tried to walk back those comments saying like, oh, between the time I said that and now other guys' spin rates dropped too, so I guess it wasn't just Cole. He just was the first name that came to mind. Yeah. So I guess the answer to that, for anybody wondering about it, is don't get Gerrit Cole angry because he will just strike you out. And this whole sticky stuff crackdown has led to other things as well, but my favorite so far has been this from the Mets. The Mets, the first place Mets right now, have probably the greatest pitcher in the game currently on their team. Jacob deGrom has been unbelievable this year. The guy's getting better with age. Jacob deGrom is a fine wine. In any case, somebody who I don't know posted this on Twitter, basically accusing deGrom of using sticky stuff, because how could somebody possibly be improving like that without using banned substances? And apparently deGrom does not have a Twitter account, which totally smart, Jake. Nobody should have a Twitter account. The place is a terrible sinkhole of disaster, but also has fun memes. And in this case, his teammates who do have Twitter accounts all came to his defense. I'm just gonna post this. I want you to look at it. How fun is that? All these guys being like, nope, that guy's great. Nope, he's too good. He doesn't need it. It's not happening. Love to see that kind of team dynamic playing out in the very public forum of Twitter. So hey, Mets Twitter, well done. Another thing that happened, this is back to the Red Sox series now. Sunday Night Baseball, CC Sabathia and his whole family, Amber and his kids, were at the game in the legend seats. Something CC has said he's excited to do now he's retired is experience the game as a fan in the fancy seats right behind the Yankees dugout. Super delightful. Was awesome to see the Sabathias there. I'm sorry you didn't get a better game to watch. See, they'll come around, you know it. But in any case, two things happened here. Number one, apparently according to the guys on commentary, between innings, Jordan Montgomery, who we all know CC mentors, looks at him as a little brother, Jordan Montgomery passed CC a bunch of sunflower seeds under the netting to chew during the game, to which I say, bah, it's so cute. I love when they're friends. That's really adorable. And the other thing that happened on Sunday night was I mentioned that egregious call to Odor. Well, there was a fracas, not really a fracas, it was a bit of an ado, because someone had to go complain and get ejected. People thought that probably should have been Aaron Boone. Boone had just been ejected earlier in the week, so who came out? Phil Nevin, known feisty man who had complications following his bout of COVID, his breakthrough post-vaccine COVID. I think he had a staph infection, a bunch of nasty stuff. He literally was at the game. He's not strong enough to be on the field yet, so he's just in the dugout back with the team. Literally IV port, still in arm. He comes out to complain and gets ejected, which, guys, somebody else has to take that on instead of Phil Nevin. That said, Phil Nevin always has the guy's back. You love to see that. But that's one thing. The next inning, there was a pitch to a Red Sox hitter that did not get called a strike. And it wasn't a strike, it was a good call. But Yankees bench have been chirping all night about the unfair zone, so at this point, people are yelling at the fact that this guy just walked, he should have struck out, and umpires decide to eject people. So what actually happened was the second base umpire, of all people, pointed the Yankees dugout, "You're out of there." And everyone assumed it was Marcus Timms. Because Marcus Timms, on the broadcast, can be seen swearing vociferously at the home plate umpire, and that would make sense, that would get you ejected. So Timms kind of like, "Oh no, I gotta go." At which point Boone walks out to be like, "Do you have to throw him out?" "You do? Okay." At which point the umpire looks in the dugout and goes, "Oh no, not you. You." Pointing instead to Carlos Mendoza, who had just been kind of standing there, and Mendoza goes, Me? You're ejecting, I didn't do anything." And Boone turns around, U-turn, and is like, "Wait, I get why you're ejecting Timms, I guess, but Mendoza didn't do anything. What's happening?" Guy's like, "I ejected him, he's gone, get out, get out, get out." So Mendoza goes for doing nothing. CC Sabathia, we love him so much, posted this on Instagram. So yeah, we know somebody who loves objecting to calls and has a very loud, hearable voice is CC. So CC seems to think that it was his screaming the umpire heard, assumed was Mendoza, and ejected Mendoza. I love that. Even post-playing career, CC still having an impact on the field as well as off. So good to see him at a Yankees game. I hope to see that many more times this season. Okay, I have one more update right now, and it is a baseball bingo. Yes, I've got two milestones that have happened since the last time we'd baseball bingoed. The first one, long-time tagger Miguel Cabrera finally reached 2,500 games played. That is a lot. Congratulations, Cabrera, for that. He's had a very long, very amazing career. Not having a great year so far. I'm kind of hoping he can pick it up in the second half and give Tigers fans something to really cheer about down the stretch. But in the interim, he's reached this goal, 2,500 games played. Mel and Andrea both have this in their cards, so you can check that off, and congratulations to Miguel. Another milestone, Andrew McCutchen, one of my personal faves, currently playing for the Phillies, and he has reached the milestone of 1,000 runs scored. That's good, that means you are helping your team score in those runs, so good job to Kutch, and good job to Karen, who can check that milestone off her bingo card. Alright, that is going to do it for me. That was a lot shoved into a very short amount of time, so hopefully you bore with me through that very dense little video we just did. We've got, as I mentioned, a Phillies series coming up. It's a weird one. It's only 2 games, so the Yankees have today, Friday off, and they also have Monday off, so they are just playing Saturday and Sunday in Philly over the weekend. So hoping for good weather, hoping for good baseball, looking for an exciting series. I like watching the Phillies. I got a lot of former Yankees on that team. You'll see when I do the series preview tomorrow. Lots of fun stuff to watch on that team. And also, what's most exciting to us, Yankees fans, probably is, will that offense that we saw in Minnesota so tantalizingly, will that stick around? I hope it does, but we're going to have to see. So, To conclude, I'm going to wrap up with a quote from one of the great playwrights, in my opinion, of our time, and that is Tom Stoppard. This one, to me, just encapsulates the way the world is right now. It is as follows. The unpredictable and the predetermined unfold together to make everything the way it is. That's from Arcadia, a gorgeous, gorgeous play. And yeah, to me, that just summarizes past two series nicely. The unpredictable, the Red Sox, the Yankees, it's always crazy. I would not have guessed anyone would sweep that series. Unpredictable and nuts. The Twins, the Yankees, the predetermined. Yeah, Yankees are gonna win that series. You pretty much mark it down before you go. And that's baseball. There's always some stuff that seems like it's just meant to be. And yet, the unpredictable. That ball bounces 1 millimeter one way or the other, and crazy things can happen. So Tom Stoppard was not writing about baseball with that quote, but he might as well have been. The predetermined and the unpredictable combine to make us invested in this crazy sport we love. So that's it for me. Looking forward to the Phillies series. We'll touch base after and see what went on. But in the meantime, as always, go Yanks.